Hey, what's going on YouTube? Millennial Trader here from the Millennial Trader YouTube channel. Today is December 15th, 2024. We're going to do a market review weekend edition. I'm going to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, the fear and greed index. I'll take a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's relative strength to Ethereum, check in on Ripple, uh, a new coin that I'm going to take a look at today and give you my analysis on. We're going to take a look at Solana, and then I'm going to check in on AVAX, a trade that recently put on, and kind of where I'm thinking the price will go next. All right. So I I generally like to start off the videos looking at the market on a holistic time frame or point of view because it gives me an indication in terms of where the market may be going next. And over the past couple of weeks, I've been mentioning that previously we saw Bitcoin's dominance in the market drop in a significant way about last week, and now we're kind of seeing the potential recovery of Bitcoin's overall dominance and strength going into potentially the end of the year. And I suspect we'll get some potentially more bullish news as we get closer to Donald Trump's presidential inauguration in January. So for the time being, I generally like where the altcoin space is from a relative strength point of view. It looks as if the pullback currently might be just something temporary for the altcoins. In which case, we might get a secondary leg running into let's say the early part of 2025. But for now, it looks like Bitcoin's dominance in the market is slowly starting to creep back up. But again, I'm potentially watching for the future potential play that the altcoins will generally have more dominance in the market going forward. Uh, again, one of the things that I typically like to look at also is that Bitcoin's dominance generally over the past couple of years has been within the 50 to 60% range. And right now we're in smack dead in the middle. So we've, like I said, we've lost a few percentage points from Bitcoin's dominance over the past couple of weeks, and that's carried into strength into the other coins as we see 31, and last month it was 27. So we'll see how things go, but generally I'm still directionally thinking that Ethereum and some of the other coins will have proportionately larger share or dominance in the market than Bitcoin. Okay, the other index that I like to look at is the greed and fear index. It kind of gives me a sense of the euphoria or the extreme fear in the market and kind of where we are relative to those two extremes. So right now we're at a 77, which is we're still in the greed area, and that's kind of the area that I typically think we end up staying will end up staying in. And over the past couple of weeks, as I mentioned, we generally don't stay within the extreme greed for an extended period of time. It's just not typical because you have to have a significant amount of dollar volume. Something significant in the market has to be happening for you to stay there for a longer period time frame, because at that point you're making those previous buyers essentially having to scale up in terms of their dollar cost averaging. So from my point of view, generally, as I've typically said, we don't stay within the extreme greed area for an extended period of time. The last peak was at 92 back in early this year. The most recent peak we were at, I think, 90. Let's see, yeah, just about 88. So we didn't necessarily break through that previous high, we'll see where it goes, as we get closer to Donald Trump's inauguration. But I generally think that the most recent high will be um, the high for this run, at least from a crypto space. Um, what's notable is obviously Bitcoin's price, has slowly started to creep back up. We're roughly still within the $100,000 range, plus or minus, $1,000 to $2,000. But in the next charts, I'll kind of give you my thoughts in terms of where Bitcoin's going next. But for the time being, 77 seems to be okay. I think we'll probably trail off into the 70, in the 70 index. Sorry, 70% on the fear and greed index. And then, that's kind of where I think we'll end up being for a short period of time. All right, I'm gonna bring over my chart, and we'll take a look at Bitcoin. So, I previously mentioned last episode that we're kind of generally within the same area as when Bitcoin kind of previously took off and when the DeMark 9 and 13 indicators came up. Like I said, plus or minus, $2,000. So we're still here. Obviously, price is starting to slowly push back up. We're getting a sense of dip buyers and maybe potential long-term investors continuing to bid up the price, which is good from an overall bullish market point of view. But generally, as I previously mentioned, whenever the DeMark sequential 9 or combo indicators print a 9 or 13, that's generally an area of caution for me, from a risk management and risk reward perspective. Yes, there's nothing to say that price can't continue to go up, but more often than not, these indicators provide significant validity and utility that they often present potential turning points in the market or periods of consolidation where if you put on if you are just entering a new position at these levels, you're at a higher probability of drawdown, relatively shortly thereafter you putting on the position. And so, yes, right now we're still pushing higher, which is great, and ultimately I think we will top out at this 107,400 level, maybe getting up to this 111, but we'll kind of see where things go. But initial targets 107,000, where I potentially see us temporarily topping out at before we potentially get another opportunity to buy back in. And for me, from a risk reward point of view, I'm hoping for another opportunity in and around this 90,615 level. And hey, if it doesn't pull back, then no big deal. There's going to be other opportunities, and always remember that nothing ever goes up forever. So that's just how I'm playing the current Bitcoin space. In fact, I'm actually looking at other coins from a relative outperformance point of view that I think have better opportunity than Bitcoin, just from essentially, at least when you're putting on new positions at these current prices, right? Yes, had you initially bought in well before the massive run up, then it's hard to find, it's hard to make up an excuse to say that Bitcoin isn't the superior coin at this point in time, just from the dollar, the dollar change from when you bought it to now. But from a percentage gain point of view, I think there's other potential coins out there that could have better upside from a percentage gain point of view. But I generally still it's still a bull run. Don't get don't get that notion mixed up. If you hear people on the street saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to start shorting the market," I think in those cases you have to wonder what is their incentive to want to suggest that. But from the current charts, you have to be very skillful if you're going to be playing counter trend at this point in time, or you're going to be shorting the coin outright. So I think there's bigger risks by you shorting the market than by you just playing the long game. Um, and you've been well rewarded just continuing to buy Bitcoin at these levels. But for me, it's not Bitcoin isn't a position that I want to be entering into right now. In the next chart, I'll kind of go through my analysis as to why I think Ethereum might be the better trade in the short term, and we'll take a look at that. But just look at this, like. I keep harping on the fact that the DeMark indicators are so intuitive, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of institutions and other firms utilizing these models worldwide. That they're the big players, the big whales that are moving the market in their direction. So you have to be paying attention to what the model suggests, because they're acting upon it depending on how price closes or where price is relative to certain support and resistance areas that I currently have on. And for those of you, like my purpose is to show you that over the past 5 years, the success of my trading can be partially or significantly related to the fact that I discovered this model and this platform by a well-regarded Wall Street veteran. I don't want to give out any names or drop any names just because for privacy and stuff like that, but I indirectly learned how to analyze the market and utilize these indicators from him. And so, over the past years of learning from him, there's significant merit in understanding where we are when you're looking at any particular security, because this model is so that can be used in any market for any security for whether it's stocks, bonds, crypto, futures. There's significant merit into this. The only thing is you can't use it for you can't directly use it for options, but you can look at the underlying stock in terms of getting a sense of directionally where you may want to be putting on tactical longs or hedges and stuff like that. But that's for another day. So if I'm looking at Bitcoin, in a bullish environment, there's these hidden levels of support and resistance that I potentially want to be leaning into. I'm just going to hide this for a second. Where so long as we hold above them, then the overall trend is still to the upside. So here we have this bearish propulsion momentum level. So long as we hold above this level, and over the next couple of weeks, this level will move up. Again, just based on how much we moved in one direction. The propulsion indicators are basically show you the thrust of the market and areas of potential support and resistance based on directionally where the stock is currently. So again, I said I would be a buyer in and around this 90,615 level. I potentially see us topping out, at least in the short term, at this 107,425 level. And I say that because we're currently on an 8 count on the combo and a 3 and a 4 count on the sequential. So, potentially 3 additional weeks. 5 additional weeks of, as long as the close is higher than the low 2 bars prior, then the count will still continue to the upside. And once we print to 13, that usually means a potential pause in the markets. So right now, you know, even though the 9 and the 13 printed right now, the way in which they closed relative to certain levels here indicate to me that, directionally you still want to be bullish, and any dips should be bought. But again, 90,615 is my level, and obviously MACD is crossed bullish early October 2024, and that was slightly lagging compared to when the DeMark indicator told you to start getting long. So that's why I say that this model and this tool are some of the best in the industry, because they can be applied to any market, whether it's trending or non-trending. So long as price is moving, you'll ultimately get these indicators to print the numbers shown above. Okay, so this is Bitcoin relative to Ethereum, and as I previously mentioned, I'm building a significant position in Ethereum because I believe Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin over into 2025, and I say that because we recently printed a 13. We're on a sequential 12 count looking for a 13, and the 12 came up because the close is higher than the low 2 bars prior. So that's the reason for the printing of the 13. And we didn't get a 13 on this weekly candle on November 25th, because the close was lower than the low 2 bars prior. So that's the reason why 13 never showed up here. So we're still potentially looking for the completion of a 13. I suspect I suspect we may potentially get that this coming week, because so long as price is higher, the close is higher than the low here, that'll be a 13, which will complete the count, because we also need to be higher than the 8 count that printed here. So there's a lot of nuances with understanding the model. People have tried to code the model itself, but they always get it wrong, because there's so many nuances and if-then factors that need to be completed, that need to be understood, sorry, for you to get an accurate, for you to be able to code it accurately. So I would say, if you find these tools online on like TradingView or whatever other platforms, I would say they're generally probably wrong, and you're probably going to get a lot of mixed signals, because the people that coded them didn't understand the model correctly. So so that's that. So I say I'm bullish Ethereum because where the price is moving up, that means that means Bitcoin's outperforming Ethereum, and now we're slowly starting to come back down, which means Ethereum is underperforming. Bitcoin is underperforming Ethereum. Not that it means that Bitcoin is negative, but it's just the relative percentage changes are much more significant in Ethereum than they are in Bitcoin. So that's why I'm looking for potentially this to continue to trail off down, which means Ethereum is going to outperform, and I'm potentially looking for me to potentially exit a certain portion of my trade once we get to this full exhaustion level, 21.7, this factor of 21.73. And look, interestingly enough, MACD is also slowly starting to cross bearish, so that's another confluence of signals that I like, and why I continue to believe this is the right trade. So I'm long Ethereum, and if I put on the Ichimoku clouds, let's see if we can find um, any other reasons why price is currently where it's at. So look at this. So we have the Ichimoku cloud. The lagging span is basically current price reflected 26 periods in the past. And so in addition to um, price currently, it initially exceeded the conversion line and came back down. It also um, creeped back. It also pushed up, but it wasn't able to hold this propulsion exhaustion level. So, you know, interestingly enough, that to me that suggests that yeah, we may potentially try to retest it, but I'm suspecting that once we retest the price coming back to the conversion line, I think we'll ultimately break down, and that's where Ethereum kind of takes the reins and drives the market up into 2025. You know, and it makes sense. Like Bitcoin's had an amazing run. I think it's time for the other coins to take a turn to continue the bull market and push it further into 2025. And you'll see a lot of the institutions and even retail traders now starting to build positions in the various indexes of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana or DOT because there are ETFs. Eventually, I suspect some of the other crypto ETFs will get options on them. And so that's just another opportunity for the institutions and retail to potentially extract alpha. So that's kind of just generally where I see the market directionally. I think for the next several years, there's going to be significant demand for cryptocurrencies, whether it's more complex products and having loans denominated in cryptocurrency, but we'll see if regulation ever actually gets approved for that, and what are the constraints and the restrictions. But for now, I'm generally long Ethereum, and I continue to build positions in it. All right, so this is XRP Ripple, and so I previously mentioned that I started to build a position in XRP for the potential of it retesting its all-time high, which I think you have to look at different exchanges because some exchanges brought the coin on at different points in time. But I think if I look at Kraken's exchange, we see here that the last time Ripple had an all-time high was basically the first week of January of 2018, and so it peaked at roughly $3.35. So that's kind of where I'm thinking the coin goes next to retest it. Let me scroll back to currently. So we've held this level. There is a hidden level of support that I believe, so long as we continue to trade above it, the overall trend for Ripple is still in place. So I'm just going to change this to bar charts. To the bars so that you can see it more clearly. So this hidden level of support right now, it says that we're under it, but last week we held above it. And if we continue to hold above it this week, this coming week, then that'll just give me further confluence of signals that directionally I'm correct. But I also don't have I guess what I was planning to say was I also am not I'm willing to hold the coin and potentially buy back in if we hold this $2.09 level. And obviously MACD is continuing to show bullish momentum to the upside, so that's also a reason why I continue to be long the coin. Okay, AVAX. So I guess 2 weeks ago, we printed a sequential 13 signal, which again suggests that there may be a potential pause in the market. But in between the completion of that, there was the start of another. There was a start of a combo 9 count, which, so long as price continues to trend upwards, we'll end up completing that 9, um, and over the next 3 weeks, that should potentially result in the completion of the 9. And interestingly enough, while we traded below this hidden level of support, this bearish momentum level, price ultimately closed above it. So that's also a bullish indication as to why I want to continue to be long AVAX. I'm potentially looking to scale out of my current position if we hit, let's see, I think I was looking at this on the daily time frame. No, I must have been looking at it on the weekly. Oh, right. So I said I would potentially exit my position if we retest this $57 price level, because then I would have had a decent gain, and I'll reevaluate my position afterwards. But the reason why I was looking at AVAX, because I saw it outperforming Bitcoin when I entered the position. Yeah, so we're getting at this hidden resistance area. We tried to push back from it. We're slowly under it. If we continue to put over the next several weeks, if we continue to close above this bullish momentum level, then again that would suggest to me that AVAX is going to outperform Bitcoin. So in outperformance, it's either make more or lose less than Bitcoin. And so that's one of the reasons why I initially entered the position. But I'll give myself until the end of the month before I kind of make the decision as to whether I want to continue to hold it and potentially reload more, or exit the position and take whatever gains I may have at that point in time. But for now, it's still bullish to me. We're holding above what looks to be an uptrend line. I just haven't bothered to draw it. But when I look at the Ichimoku clouds, look, we've held both the conversion and the baseline, so that's bullish to me. And I think we'll potentially just try and hit this the bottom of the cloud, which is kind of the area I was initially looking to take profit at. And then if we close above it, the top of the cloud is potentially a major area of support, resistance. So we'll see how things play out, but that's directionally I'm bullish AVAX, and I continue to be. All right, so we're looking at the last coin is Solana. So I initially looked at Solana a few weeks ago, and I was considering whether I wanted to enter the coin or not. Looking at it from a few different angles, just at the coin itself, Solana relative to Bitcoin, and at the time I just didn't see anything that interested me, for the reason of we potentially reached an inflection point because this combo setup 9 count completed, as well as the sequential count also completed. So that's a strong indication that is a potential area of resistance. And obviously since then, price has come down in a significant way, coming down almost 50 points, $50. So that's major. Anybody who kind of got into the coin earlier in November, almost a month from now ago, is currently underwater. This area of support, both the conversion line and the bearish momentum level is interesting to me, because although we touched it, both areas, which are unrelatedly just happened to line up exactly at the same area, it held, and we're slowly rising above it. So I just don't think the risk reward is there for me to want to be bullish Solana, because of the fact that, look at the way that this 13 printed. For months, the price ultimately came back down. Yes, there was this hidden area of support where we ultimately bounced in and around there, and ultimately the price of Solana took off, which happened to coincide with the same time frame as Bitcoin, and I think that was just generally overall market sentiment happened to change at that point. But we stalled against this risk level, which is essentially the stopping point for anybody that it's basically a stopping point from if you're entering a short position, and it came up from this 13 back here in April as an area where whoever went short, that is an objective level for you to an objective and identified stopping stop loss area that's calculated in a particular way. I won't go into it today, but that's an objective way to kind of measure your stop loss and your risk, from a risk management point of view. And yes, we punched through it, but we didn't close above it. So anybody who was short can continue to be short, because obviously price has come down $50 since. And when I was looking at Solana relative to Bitcoin, I also noted that, it's not really doing anything. Like, it's just kind of chopping in and around in a horizontal pattern. So there's no real reason to want to be in Solana if you're looking for price appreciation and I guess alpha relative to Bitcoin, because right now there's nothing really happening. It's anything that is showing up, it's short term in nature, because price is ultimately reversing course. Once it touches this support line, it's bounced back up. So I don't really have any indication as to where the coin is going. But obviously, this is the second week where we're on a -2 count of a -9. So that's an indication that Solana's relative strength and relative outperformance to Bitcoin is now a concern, because now it's showing that Bitcoin is actually Bitcoin is the coin you want to essentially be in for relative outperformance. And look at the MACD has just kind of been trailing in and around the secondary line, and now we've seen it break down completely in a major way. So I don't want to be in Solana, because Bitcoin is actually performing better than Solana. So that's that. And if I put on the Ichimoku clouds, yeah, I can't really make heads or tails of it. It's just kind of like directionally, there's no real reason to want to be bullish, or at least bullish Solana. If anything, I would probably want to lean bearish, just for the fact that Solana is underperforming Bitcoin. And you could potentially put on a pair trade too, right? If you have if your particular exchange allows you to have Solana to Bitcoin, then that's, or excuse me, Bitcoin to Solana, then that's potentially a way for you to kind of generate a pair trade. All right, so that's basically it for this weekend. It was a pretty much chill session. I didn't really want to do anything significant in terms of predicting any major swings, but generally I think Bitcoin, the momentum is still in the crypto market for you to be long. Bitcoin, I think, is going to ultimately reach to that 107 level, which I've been mentioning for weeks now. If I get an opportunity to buy it back at 90,000, I will. I'm going to be continuing to scale into my Ethereum position and build that out in a significant way. XRP, I think there's still positive momentum for it to retest its previous all-time high. But, we're getting close to that 9 counts, so in potentially another 3 weeks, I'll reassess what I want to do then. But I have no problem if we don't get there, then I'll exit the position and look to reallocate capital in another coin. AVAX, similarly, I'm bullish AVAX. I'm bullish it relative to Bitcoin because of the fact that I see positive momentum building. Um, at the end of the month, again, I'll reevaluate where AVAX is, where AVAX price is, and I'll make a determination if I want to um, hold it or take my profit and move it into something else. And I'm generally not bullish Solana. In fact, I would actually look at shorting Solana outright, either through you can actually, I believe you can do it through the ETF. Yeah, you can do it through the Osprey Solana Trust. I don't know. You could short the ETF directly. You just short it at the current price at $13.29. I don't know if they have options on this just yet. It wouldn't. It would surprise me if they did. I don't think so. So you would really have to just short. You would have to short the ETF directly, and that's it. I hope you like this week's technical analysis. Um, Subscribe, like the video. If there's any coins that you want me to take a look at next this coming week, let me know. I'll do my technical analysis. I'll even show you a new trade that I'm actually looking at entering. So keep an eye on for the next video. All right, that's it. Millennial Trader out.